Good day, YouTubers, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from all around the world. We hit our stacks of lumber, and I made up some sacks full of corn or rice or flour. My sacks are different than the ones in the plans. The ones in the plans are sort of weird looking, but I think these will be fine. So adding some lines to these little blocks instead of trying to glue on these little fiddly brackets everywhere. Looks pretty good, so I'm going to leave them like that. My next step is the bilge pump. I got to get the pieces out for that. Open up the computer and see what the assembly looks like. But that's what we got so far for stuff to go inside. And I'll probably add more too, just for the sake of clutter. Fill it up with stuff. I will think about putting some little fairy lights in there, those LED, little teeny LED wires with the battery box like we did on the Bounty. Another idea I had was to go create a hot air balloon that would hang or float above this to lift it into the air. What do you think about that? Okay, so we got our bilge pump assembled. I don't see where it glues onto the ship yet, but I'll worry about that when we get to the point where it shows us. The next thing in the plans was to put this base together, and the instructions just said glue it. Well, sometimes the instructions are a little weak, so I'm going to add some pins. Use some 1mm wire. Just cut the wire the same length as that hole I just drilled. And along with the glue, I'm sure this will fit, but I always try to make sure. Yeah, it'll go in there. So along with the glue, we'll have some pins to help support, so that won't ever just fall off. Now we gotta get some glue out here. Move this camera back a little bit. Clean that tip off so it'll be ready next time. I guess if I just pull this off, yeah. And we'll add some glue here. push them in the rest of the way. After that sets, or after we get this other side on, we'll put a clamp on there. Put some pressure on that joint. Where's my bucket of clamps? Is this clamp big enough? Just not quite. Let's see. Sometimes these clamps you can take that rubber pad off and you'll get more distance. So I'm going to put one on each side because it's wanting to skew it to one side. We'll put one on each side. Now I did test fit this. You can see that this one here has got a lot more curve in it than this one does. And when you set them next to each other, this one's higher than that one is. And one side of the cutaway has got an arc to it, and the other side doesn't. It's flat. Almost flat, so it does fit. I think that'll work good. I'm gonna let that dry. Okay, now what's next? Okay, so the next thing in the plans is the crow's nest on the lookout platform. The first level on the main mast. And I guess you can't everything be simple. They specifically say in the instructions they want you to measure this like 12 millimeters in and 14.25 millimeters out, and here, well, good, all these different measurements. So I laid that out over there on the laptop, and then just to make it a little easier, because it's not easy cutting through that plywood, I did take the 1 millimeter drill bit and drill through the corners. So whenever you're cutting a rectangle or a square out of something like this, the corners is where you have problems. So got that. Now we got to sand her up. And this is going to go on the bottom of it. Something like that. And then this one is going to go something like that. And then these got to glue on just in the right spot, because we got some holes we got to drill in here for the rat line attachment points, and probably some blocks, some other things that got to go on there. So these got to get placed in exactly the right spot all the way around, and then they'll hold up. Yeah, this is going to be fun. We'll try to set it up where we can hold this in the vise or something. I don't know yet. Just to keep it from flumping around while we're working on it. So that's the idea there. We got to get all those in the right spot. We'll have to lay out where those go, and we'll probably go ahead and glue these together. Leave that off so I can work with it flat on the ground. Get everything laid out, marked up, and then we'll very carefully attach these. I gotta sand these after I cut them out of the plywood. I got some burrs. We gotta clean all these up before we start. Alright, we're on to the last bracket for the crow's nest. I need a liberal amount on the part that touches the bottom inside there, because it really doesn't touch it. And I'm eyeballing where the center between the other two are. And making sure the flat part of the piece is flat against the ring there, and that's what lifts this budding off the plate a little bit. But I got enough glue in there, I think. So now for the moment of truth. Yeah, man, oh man, oh man, oh man. It isn't gonna line up perfectly. So let's turn this upside down. I'll put some glue on these bracket ends. Let's see if we can't get this to set in there. When you got stuff cantilevered out like this, let me use that block to keep that from scooting around. We'll just start at one side. See if we can get it to go all the way around. Oh, knocked that one loose. It's like they want to be at a little more angle than what they are, which would tell me that the That tells me that the butt of these wants to be down on the plate instead of the flat part down on the ring. So as I push the butt of those down on the plate, they angle up a little bit, and that's going to make them in a tighter circle, because that's our problem for sure. We're not in a tight enough circle. Let's see if we can get these back in the same spot. Nope. There's 3 of them. 4. 5, 6, 7. Let's turn it over maybe. No, if we turn it over, then we won't be able to. Come on, baby. Now turn it over, that they're all in place, and make sure that they're all pushing right. Yeah, see that one went in. Really awkward. So I've learned over time that if you fiddle with stuff too much, which I'm tempted to go in there with a little teeny stick and add more glue underside and this side here, but if I know if I fiddle with it more, something's going to move, and then I'm going to be starting all over again. So I'm going to let it dry, and then we'll add some more glue after it dries, because it's too fragile. So some update news on the prostate surgery. I'm recovering pretty well, and something I was surprised about is I don't have any pain, or didn't have any pain from day one. Almost wondered what they did, if they did anything at all. I definitely went into the surgery room and they knocked me out. Came out with a different catheter, and I took that out. See, the surgery was on Tuesday, and then as a week ago yesterday, I went back to the urologist Friday and had the catheter removed, and I was able to urinate. So praise the Lord. Now I am taking it easy, just to make sure that I'm not going to make something bleed again. I have seen a little pink in the urine, but nothing like it was before when I was beginning of this problem. So it looks like it's over, and I just have to take it easy so I don't make it bleed again. Praise the Lord, everything worked out. No pain. Able to urinate. I haven't drinking any coffee since then. I've been drinking green tea and a couple bottles of water a day. And a glass of juice at night. Eating normal. Breakfast and dinner. So, alright, let's look in the plans, all this dries, and see what's next. Yeah, Henny Penny's all fluffed up. I think the other chickens are being mean to Henny Penny because she seems to be separated. Only got one egg today. Yeah, I think next week I'm going to try to take that separator out of the coop and see what happens if they all get together. Okay, so we have finished 2 more steps. Of course, we were gluing this together, and then I glued the bottom on there after the whole thing dried. And then put some stain on it. And I just did that. I stained these 2 pieces. Did the upper landing and the lower landing, the crow's nest. And the next thing in the plans after the crow's nest was to go ahead and cut and shape the mast poles. So we got the bottom, middle, and top shaped. And we put this end in the drill and then pushed this side against the sanding wheel while it was running, the belt sander. And we tapered this down 2 millimeters on the end. So I think this is 10 millimeter dowel that we shaped down to 8. And then this is a 7 millimeter and a 5 millimeter. And we tapered 2 millimeters off each one of them using the hand battery drill and the sanding belt. And that went pretty quick. And then I just did the coat of stain and varnish on them. So obviously this is the main mast, and it's going to go in there. And for the first time, yeah, I'm going to have to scrape some of that varnish off because it didn't. Oh, I might. Yeah, I'm hitting that block in there. I got to take that block out. Ladder's in the way. goes down all the way. So we got the main mast in. Now we got to build up the different sections of the mast and make it all one piece all the way up. So as far as the plans on the CD go, that's the next few steps, is assembling the mast as a whole in one piece. So I got to shape the inside of this opening to accept the pole, and the inside of this opening, and we got some other pieces that got to go on. I just installed these brass plates on there, and I'm showing a number 39 in the parts list, but when I go look in, see this on the CD, it's in two different files, the assembly and the parts list. When I go to the first set of files, which is the part of the build that we've completed, and today doing this mast and the crow's nest and a few of these other things, we're into the second part of the second file on the CD. And the parts numbers in there don't match the list of parts on the first file. And there is no bands like it shows in the picture on the file. There is no bands in the parts. Oh, looking in, they got these brass rods and stuff. There's no banding material. I had some leftover sheet brass that I can cut this out of and make these bands. So that's what I did. But when you get to that spot, until I do more research and figure out why there's missing stuff, I don't know what to do. Zoom in here. But these bands that they're showing there, part number 39, we go all the way down here. So that's the end of the file. And it's rigging and sail or flag, standing rigging, running rigging. But there is no parts on this file. You know, like they would number out and show the part by itself. So I get to this beginning of this new file, and we're shaping these mast poles, and then we're putting these bands on. I'm assuming that's a piece of brass banding. And then we assemble the mast. Well, we gotta open this up instead. Yeah. So this is the first file that we've worked off of for all this time. And there's part number 39. That is not a metal band. Well, maybe that is rope that they want us to wrap around there. Now we're thinking about it. It's got to be. That's what they want us to do. Well, instead of rope, I put brass rings on there. Okay. I agree there's some confusion that is always part of a model build that you have to figure out on your own. Well, the part numbers go up from there to the higher number. 37, 38. 39 is up here, and it's this 0.15 millimeter rope. Okay, I agree. That was probably what you're supposed to put on there. I saw the rope right off the bat, and I said, ooh, that doesn't look like the picture. The picture looks like brass rings. So I put brass rings on there. That looks better, doesn't it? No. Yeah, all the other builds we've done, it's rope, now that I'm thinking about it. So we may put rope over this brass, or we'd leave it like this. Put your ideas in the comments. What should we do? I like the way that looks better, but thanks for watching.